Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with How to Beat Anime. Today's How to Beat is part 2 of the One Piece live action one. This time we're going to the Bartier and, well, Sanji and Arlong. You'll see. So, part 2, let's wrap it up. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
If you had to clash swords with terrifying pirates, dodge cannonballs by marine sailors, and save a village from fishman creatures, what would you do? You'll need to bring your squad back together first to even have a chance of finding the One Piece treasure alive. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Fishman monsters in One Piece Part 2. This kid here will watch hundreds of innocent people die. Luffy and his crew here, plus one mystery person that they need to recruit, Sanji, are on the run to find the One Piece treasure. They went through hell to steal a map to the Grand Line, and now they're on the run from every sailor in the sea. They leave this marine base with the stolen map, but then they realize they're getting shot at by marines out for their blood. They hit the deck as cannons blast through their ship, nearly killing everyone. Luffy then realizes that the man chasing them, the Vice Admiral of the Marines, is his granddaddy, shocking his entire crew, especially Nami. Luffy says that they need to fight back, but Nami tells him that they are stealing their wind. If that ship gets any closer, they are done for. Back on the marine ship, the Vice Admiral tells his men that he wants these pirates captured alive, and he yells out to Luffy to pull over, but he refuses. Pissed off, the man grabs a frickin' cannonball and throws it right at Luffy's boat. Acting fast, he expands his rubber body to catch it and fires it right back into the marine boat and destroys their sails. Okay, this group just acted unprofessional as hell. And this is why I would have gotten out of this situation scot-free, by not being an eager beaver like them. Let me explain. For a ragtag group of wannabe pirates, they failed to do much pirating in this situation. They also had terrible awareness skills, maybe the fact that they did not see a giant marine ship until it was right behind them. If I was running the show, I would have stationed someone right above on the ship's crow nest, which is the upper part of the main mast of a ship that functions as a lookout point, ensuring the viewer up there with the widest field of view to look from, and be able to see all types of shit from coming afar. Because that is the whole point of having someone up at the crow's nest. And if somebody got tired, all you gotta do is rotate ships up there every 3 hours. That way everybody gets a nice good tan. But still you'll be able to see, oh, I don't know, ships coming towards you. If possible, I would have tried to leave during the night to lessen the chances of getting spotted by Marines, which we knew were in the area to begin with. And since this boat wasn't really registered with us, this could have meant we could have just stayed hidden on the island and wait until night, with no worries of the Marines discovering the boat until we were ready to leave. Or at the very least, I would have hired a few helping hands and placed them in charge of sailing our ship while we hid below deck, at least until we're far away from this island port.
Get a whole bottle of premium fragrance every month for 97% less money than what you'd pay for in the store. Hear me out. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription that lets you choose a new fragrance each month, and they're designed to last you the whole month for only the price of one large premium topping pizza. Their affordable subscription plans means that you get 600 choices of the best to choose from. I'm talking Gucci, Prada, Versace, to the very most indie of indie brands like Skylar, Heretic, Confessions of Rebel, and more. These will let you smell as good as us anime boys. I like to roll with the Cross River Gorilla by Sanctuary and feel as fruity as a jungle after a rainstorm. Very fun. Calculated complexity with this one, and it's gonna make you feel upbeat in hot weather, smelling of mixed green notes. And after that, I like to do a quick dash of Handsome Devil by Grooming Lounge for when it's time to look dangerous and sophisticated. The spice and citrus will lead you to redwood and coffee scents that will have you smelling warm and cheeky for when you want to have a night full of fun. A 30-day supply will allow you to try a fragrance out fully before committing to a full-size bottle, which can cost anywhere between $150 to $300. Oh my gosh! Or you could just rotate fragrances with Scentbird forever. Don't worry, we won't tell. Thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Use my coupon code HTBA for 55% off at Scentbird. That's less than $8 for your first month. Aren't you lucky? Available in the US and Canada. Check out the links below, and thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Back to the show.
Vice Admiral Garp here gets so mad that he starts laughing like a maniac, while everyone awkwardly watches because they don't know how to take it. And Luffy's crew manages to disappear into the sea. Luffy tells his people that they should lay low for a while because they can't afford to waste time anymore. They must head to the Grand Line, but Nami tells them that they are lost. The crew then discusses the elephant in the room. They're being chased by their captain's grandparent, which is really weird. Zoro and the
okay.
others think, it's not a big deal, but Nami says, maybe you should have shared that information. But just then, a strange smell interrupts their conversation. But the only one who could smell it is Luffy, and he tells him he can smell something covered in butter and is delicious. Directing his crew to the smell, he guides them out of the sea mist directly into the strange
floating restaurant,
island, full
Bartier.
of life, food, and pirates. They arrive at Barati Port. Luffy tells his gang that they should stop running away and start eating away their problems instead because he's hungry, but they don't have money. Anyways, they head inside. Meanwhile, in the restaurant kitchen, this blonde-chefed pretty boy cooks the best meal of his life and tries to serve it, but his boss here tells him he can only cook what's on the menu, and that his meal is dog shite. Pissing him off, these two get into an argument, and the boss punishes him by making him a waiter for the day. Heading out into the dining room with this bread bowl, he then sees these customers about to fight. He tries to calm them down, but they won't listen. So then he whips out these sick waiter moves on them, knocking them all out. Luffy catches the fight from a distance and is impressed as hell. Pretty boy then takes his sexy little bread bowl and heads straight on over to Luffy's tin. He introduces himself as Sanji, but then he catches Nami, sitting there looking all scrumptious. And then he gives her the old winky face service, taking their menu orders. He heads back into the kitchen while Luffy and the crew give Nami a hard time because hey, somebody's got an admirer. And then...
And little they know, Sanji's kind of like that with every girl he meets. At least in the anime. I'm not sure what they're going to do with here, but... But you gotta admit, the crew really does just walk around and have fun, huh? Anyway.
Enjoy their break from all of the fighting. Meanwhile, Vice Admiral Garp's men work on fixing the ship. These workers tell him that repairs will take a day or two. But Kobe Bright...
Again with a Y,
not
not
that
E.
Kobe. Skittish, twitchy-faced Kobe here says that there's another marine ship nearby that they can call to go after Luffy. But Vice Admiral Garp tells them that they're the only ones who can handle this mission, but doesn't tell them why. He heads into his office and makes the most devastating call he will ever make. He got a hold of the most powerful swordsman in the world. Hearing screams on the other line, he finally reaches a man named Mihawk, slicing and dicing men in the middle of a bloody beach battle, killing everybody. And Vice Admiral Garp tells Mihawk that he has a job for him to do, to go after a pirate named Luffy. And he tells him to not underestimate the kid no matter what. But Mihawk says, just a minute, and then slices this one ship down. Deflecting the bullets, he mercilessly kills the rest of these baddies. Before returning to his phone, he accepts the Vice Admiral's mission and gets told to bring him in alive. All the while,
way to get rid of a minor character.
Back in the Barati port, Luffy's crew finishes their meal, and then Nami then cuts the shit and tells Luffy what is the deal with his grandfather. And she gets mad at him for not telling them this earlier, and that's when Sanji returns with the bill. Luffy signs it, but quickly finds out from the owner that he must pay in cash or else. Luffy confidently tells him that he can add it to his treasure tab because he is talking to the future king of the pirates. He tells Chef Zeph that he is on his way to find the One Piece treasure, but Zeph tells him that the only treasure he'll find is at the bottom of some dirty dishes. And then he forcefully takes Luffy to the kitchen and tells him he must pay off his food debt by working in the kitchen from now on. Sanji then comes back and tells Zeph that he's done being a waiter and doesn't want to cook the same boring food ever again. And Luffy spots one of Sanji's dishes and tastes it, loving it. And that's when Sanji leaves in anger. Later that night, Luffy's crew gets drunk at the port bar. Nami tries telling these two that Luffy keeping a secret is messed up, but they tell her that they have bigger problems to deal with. And then she says she can't afford to get caught when she's so close, but she catches herself and awkwardly leaves the group to get more drinks. Nami here seems like she's up to something, but I would be able to figure out her true motives based on a statistical probability using the psychological traits of very famous pirates in past history. Let me explain. This group has failed to do the one thing that would make any team click, and that would be to learn the backstory of their teammates. At this point, Luffy's been so worried trying to recruit just about everybody that he's forgotten to really vet who he's actually bringing in. And in this case, the wild characters aren't the ones that I'd be worried about, but instead would want to know the motivations behind the sweetest looking members of our crew. Because the last thing we want is a wolf in sheep's clothing, or a psycho in baddie's clothing. Nami being shady right here doesn't seem like a big deal until we look at the whole picture, starting with the psychological profile of how and why somebody would want to be a pirate in the first place. Yes, I know she says she's not a pirate, but come on, she's with pirates. Contrary to how the movies make it seem, many pirates in reality had prior sailing backgrounds as pirateers or were in the Navy, and were also very shrewd businessmen that were vital to many economies and served as basically their nation's patrons, as they got in charge with going around the world and bring back treasures for their countries. One such a pirate, Francis Drake, even got knighted by Queen Elizabeth in 1581. This means that if I was Luffy, I would have started treating these recruiting sessions like we were recruiting for a Fortune 500 company. Here's why. Because if we take a look at some of the most famous pirates ever known throughout history, Blackbeard, Henry Every, the most famous pirate to retire rich and to not die in battle. Both of these and many more came from highly established backgrounds. And if we compare Nami to other female pirates of the past, then this is where it only gets more interesting. Unlike men, women joining pirate crews was not common in the least, meaning to be a female pirate you had to have some serious reasons for joining such a life. And here's where it gets even crazier. 4 of the most famous female pirates in history, all of them came from respected and or well-off families, and either became pirates to break free from their parents' disapproval, or came from a rich family and joined in order to avenge the people who chased their family out from their homeland. This means that while Zoro and Usopp might have joined the pirate life for crazy reasons, Nami here likely joined our group because she's either running away from something or has a massive chip on her shoulder and wants to avenge something or someone. And I have a feeling, based on previously correlating factors, that Nami here is way more dangerous than she looks. Over at the bar.
Yeah, honestly, even if I did see this and she was like acting weird, I think I would have told one of them, like, hey, you think what if I should keep an eye on her? I don't like the look in her eye. She is not thinking straight. I feel like something's gonna happen that we're gonna get dragged into, or she's gonna betray us first chance she gets. That's all I'm saying, so I watch our backs. Okay? I don't know who to send, so I don't know about Zoro, since he doesn't really strike me as the guy that would just stealthily see. I'd probably go myself, so that way, you know, boom, easy. Anyway.
She secretly asks the bartender here that she wants to go to the Konami Islands, and then he points her to this old man, and he tells her that he can take her there at sunrise tomorrow for a price. And he can even take her friends with her, but she tells him that she will be going there alone. Back at the marine ship, Kobe tells his love-hate buddy here, Helmeppo, that he heard news from the Vice Admiral as he was talking to somebody named Mihawk on the phone earlier. Shocked at this news, he tells Kobe that this man is not just a man. He is the greatest swordsman in the entire world, one of 7 great pirates who ruled the seas. Years ago, the world government made a deal with these 7. Instead of trying to capture them or kill them, they were each given dirty jobs that the good guys could not do in order to keep the world safe. And in exchange, the pirates would be allowed to roam free in the world. And the news horrifies Kobe. And Helmeppo tells that while this may seem messed up, this is how the real world works. Mr. I now have cojones Kobe then decides to go to talk to the Vice Admiral himself. Entering his office, he sees him eating a ton of steaks like a man's man, and he reveals that he overheard him talking to Mihawk, and then he nervously asks him why there are different rules for different pirates in the world. As a recruit for the Marines, he signed up for this job to protect people from pirates, and now he's thinking of quitting because of what he just discovered. Vice Admiral Garp then pours him a glass and tells him that he used to be like Kobe, but then quickly discovered that the world is evil, and that the same set of laws don't apply to everyone. But a Marine is the only thing standing between honor and true anarchy in the world, and he asks Kobe if he can live with that, because that is what being a true Marine is all about. And inspired by this old man BS, Kobe says he can handle it and decides to stay on the Marines. Back at Baratie Port, Luffy is busy cleaning dishes when he sees Sanji chilling in the back. They start talking, and he finds out that he is a chef and that he has a dream to travel to the All Blue, a mythical area of the world where you can find the best ingredients from all 4 seas. Nobody knows where it is, but he wants to be the one to find it. Luffy gets excited and tells him that he should follow his dreams no matter what it takes. And that's when an injured sailor busts through this back door. He is starving, and Sanji quickly whips up some food. And that's when one of his co-workers tells him that if Chef Zeph finds out that he is feeding someone without any money, he will get in trouble. But Sanji does it anyways. Minutes later, the injured sailor chows down and tells him that he's been drifting out in sea for weeks, and comments that this is the best meal he's ever had in his life. And Luffy gets really impressed by Sanji, and he tells him that he should join their crew to help feed them while they go after the One Piece treasure. And that's when the sailor's eyes go wide, and he reveals that he was actually a part of a huge 50-ship team that were looking for the One Piece treasure themselves. But once they got to the Grand Line, They lost all 5,000 of their men, and he is the only survivor. He begs Luffy to not go there no matter what, because he will never make it out of there alive. Nami's crew chills over some drinks, and Zoro can tell that she is hiding something. They play a drinking game to find out more about each other, and reasons for joining the crew, and it's blah blah blah, it's not important. But across from them, Usopp gets drunk, and talks a good game in front of these pirate baddies. But then this one guy sitting next to him asks him if he's the captain, and Usopp gets uncomfortable and says that a man named Luffy is their captain. Intrigued, the man asks which one of them is Luffy, but none of them tell him anything. Zoro then looks at him dead in the eyes and says that he knows who he is, Dracul Mihawk. He reveals that he is his biggest fan, and it's because of him that he wanted to become the world's greatest swordsman. And it's because of Mihawk's skill that he must now kill him. Zoro challenges the world's greatest killer right now to a duel tomorrow morning, shocking Nami and Usopp. Back in the kitchen, Luffy catches Chef Zeph passing by in the kitchen and gives him shit for not letting Sanji follow his dreams, and accidentally tells him that Sanji fed a homeless customer earlier for free. And then Usopp rushes in and tells him that they need him to come back to the boat as soon as possible. At their boat, Luffy finds out that his granddad sent a high-profile assassin, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, to kill him. But first, Zoro is going to fight him tomorrow morning. Luffy calls Zoro crazy, but says he can't stop him. He can't step in his way to achieve his dream. Nami thinks Zoro is crazy, and she is shocked that Luffy is dead serious about everybody following their dreams, including silly or serious ones. Nami begs him not to do it because he is her friend, but Zoro tells her that earlier when she was trying to act tough, she said she didn't have any friends, and this pisses her off and she walks away. Early in the next morning, Nami steals the map to the Grand Line and heads out to meet her ride that is going to take her to the Kenobi Islands, but at the last minute, she has a change of heart and goes to link back up with her crew just in time to see Zoro meet up with Mihawk, getting ready for the duel.
So no betrayal.
He whips out his mighty tiny sword, confusing Zoro and proving to everybody that size doesn't matter, at least when you're Mihawk. And he tells Zoro that he isn't worthy of his big sword. All right. I know. It seems like we just can't get out of this situation, but I would have unscrewed us by screwing everyone else. Let me explain. Mihawk here is the world's most deadliest swordsman and the goal of Zoro, and he has now roped everybody else into it. Thanks, dude. Since Zoro is such big on honor, this means he's more of a liability than an asset, because he will either screw us over or get in our way, which means he's willing to take time out of our plans to go to the Grand Line in order to reach his goal. We do not need that bullshit, and we have until morning before Mihawk shows up again. This is why, if I was Luffy, with the help of Zeph and our crew, I would make 2 Luffy dummy dolls, with the purpose that one doll would be escorted by Nami, while the second doll would be escorted by Zoro. Both of them would head in 2 opposite directions on boats, and this would confuse Mihawk on which direction we went for starters. And I would tell Nami that I would catch up with her later at a different point. However, the moment her and Zoro's boat left port, I would go and recruit Sanji to be on my crew, and would then take my boat in a third unknown direction by either of them, with the purposes of circling back onto the route to the Grand Line, and get there without Nami or Zoro. Yes, I'm lying to them, but again, it would likely increase our chances of being able to get away. Pissed off, Zoro whips out his swords and charges at Mihawk, slamming against his tiny weapon, but he easily blows Zoro back, making him realize that he is clearly outmatched, and he tells him that he's strong. But fighting isn't about strength, and he quickly manages to lightly stab Zoro, shocking him, and Mihawk asks him, why doesn't he retreat? But he tells Mihawk that he can't, or his dream will be lost forever. Mihawk tells him that he's impressed with his bravery, and that he will honor his dream by killing him with his big boy sword, taking it out of the sheath, revealing a giant sword that has put fear into everybody across the seas. And Zoro sets up his 3-sword technique, and charges Mihawk a final time. Both clash swords, but Zoro realizes that his have been broken, and he has officially been defeated in combat. And Mihawk says that he should quit, but Zoro tells him that a samurai can never surrender until he is forced to, and is prepared to die. Mihawk then fulfills his wishes and strikes him down, and everybody screams. friends. They rush to check on him, but find that Mihawk's strike actually didn't kill him. Intrigued, Mihawk asks Luffy what his true goal in life is, and Luffy tells him that he wants to reach the Grand Line, find the One Piece treasure, and become the king of the pirates. Impressed, Mihawk tells him that the world could use a few more wild cards, and says that he will leave him to his mission. And he also tells Zoro that he is a worthy fighter, and that he should come find him when he gets stronger someday. They quickly take Zoro back to their boat, and Nami tells Luffy to go find a doctor at the restaurant. And there he asks Chef Zeph if he knows any doctors near here, but he tells him that the closest ones are a few days away by boat, but he can help instead. Reaching back, Chef Zeph pulls out some really cool MacGyver shit, combining fish skin and stitches, and he patches Zoro's wounds and tells him that the fish scales will help heal the wounds faster, but warns them that he's lost a lot of blood, that he might not make it through the night. This is why they should keep talking to him in order to keep him in this world. Nami gets pissed at Luffy that he let Zoro pull this stupid stunt, but he tells her that he had to follow his dreams, and she tells him that in real life, not everybody gets to follow their dreams. Later, Mihawk travels back to Vice Admiral Garp's boat and tells him that
sitting
he
right in
lets
his chair
Luffy
too,
go, and the Vice Admiral gets pissed. But Mihawk says that he wants to see what happens when his grandson reaches the Grand Line, because he thinks he might just do it. Just outside, Kobe hears all of this and is shocked, and Mihawk leaves the office while Vice Admiral Garp loses his shit. He then calls in Kobe and apologizes for not telling him this information sooner, and reveals to him his true goal. He actually wants to save Luffy and to make him not turn into a pirate. But Kobe tells him that based on his interaction with him when they first met,
I don't think
he was born to be a pirate. And that's when an idea suddenly strikes Vice Admiral Garp, and he tells Kobe to call a marine meeting as soon as possible. With all the men lined up outside, he announces to everybody and everyone that their mission has now changed. He finally realizes that Luffy will never surrender, which means they must now fight dirty in order to bring them to justice. The next day, the most horrifying creatures of the sea arrive at Barati port, entering the restaurant. They threaten everybody already inside and say that no one can leave. They introduce themselves as fishmen and meet with Chef Zeph, and he cautiously approaches them. This fishman says that his name is Arlong and that he owns the East Blue Sea. He's come to find somebody named Luffy because he has something very important that belongs to him. Chef Zeph says that he doesn't know about this person, but Arlong can tell he's lying, and he warns him that if he doesn't bring him in soon, he will kill everyone here. Meanwhile, Nami listens in and overhears all of this. She then runs back to Luffy's boat and tells everybody the news. She tells them that they should leave this place now, but Luffy tells them that they must stay and fight to help Sanji's people since he helped them. And Luffy tells Nami to stay on the ship and guard the map. Okay, well, it might seem like we're screwed. I would have solved all of our problems with Arlong with a little bit of cooking grease. Let me explain. Arlong is a member of the Arlong Pirates who's got the highest bounty in the East Blue. But at this point, he doesn't know where we are exactly, which is why he is holding everyone here hostage. He wants us to come to him and is relying on our humanity to bait us. Since we have the advantage of time on our side, I would first order my crew to go and destroy the most crucial elements of their boat, and we'll get our getaway boat ready for what's about to happen.
They swam here in
You'll see
boats.
that despite the unclear timeline we're in, this kitchen has a gas-lit stove, which means that a gas line is present. Back then, it would have also likely been that places with gas stoves had high-pressure regulators installed within the gas system. This is a valve that automatically cuts off the flow of gas, and when it reaches a certain pressure, it is designed to direct only the amount of gas into the pipes that the load device can take. This is why, after disabling Arlong's boat, I would sneak Sanji into the kitchen through the side entrance that the hungry sailor came through right before, and would then switch on the gas and allow the gas from all the stoves to accumulate over the burner. The lack of a gas pressure regulator means that large amounts of gas would easily diffuse into the air around the entire kitchen. And since this is a professional kitchen, this means that grease, cooking oil, alcohol will be present everywhere in heavy amounts. All of these are highly combustible. The saturation of excess gas from multiple stoves means that after 2 minutes this place will be a fire hazard. While this was taking place, I would instruct one of us to meet Arlong in the restaurant from the front, and from there would lure him into the kitchen saying we had the map there. Due to his lack of faith in humans, and him thinking we're not as smart or as strong as him, he would likely think we're not capable of tricking him. I would follow us into the kitchen with no problem. I would then head out of the back of the kitchen and have one of our crews light a flame. This would set off a highly combustible explosion, one full of fire, pressure, and death. And at this point, either Arlong would have been dead, or at the very least injured long enough to where we could run away with the map, all because he underestimated us. his enemy. Back at the
Well, fair, but I don't know if I do that. Like, I know, honor-based, but we gotta factor in the Luffy here, because he's not gonna do that. I mean, Daddy's gonna take away this restaurant just to take out Arlong. And yet, unfortunately, that boat plan ain't gonna work, because Fishman could swim. You know? So, again, I'd probably start running, or at least try to get him to chase us, or something. Play along until you get a favorable battleground. Anyway.
Restaurant. Arlong's fish people let these humans in on their full plan. They tell them that they are done being second-class citizens of the world, and make a speech about wanting to be treated as equals for once. If they don't, they will destroy the world in order to make it happen. Luffy then busts in to confront Arlong, and he asks them how he tracked them down. And Arlong takes out the head of one of his old enemies, Buggy the Clown. And this idiot clown reveals to Luffy that one of his ears was hiding in his hat this whole time.
Ew, that's so gross.
And he's overheard their entire plan. But then he yaps too much, so the fishermen put him back in his bag. Arlong tells Luffy that he wants the Grand Line map, but Luffy says, nah, and he'll fight him for it instead. And that's when Chef Zeph shoots Arlong in the back, pissing them all off as they start a beatdown on everybody. Sanji rushes in to save his boss, knocking this guy down with his fancy moves, but he quietly gets knocked back by their super strength. Luffy reacts quick and fires off his gum pistol, but Arlong quickly catches it and throws him back. Luffy goes in for a second series of strikes, but he quickly finds out that they are too powerful for them, and he violently gets thrown out of the restaurant and gets beaten down again and again, getting thrown onto this boat. Trying to get up a final time, Arlong quickly splashes seawater on him, his one weakness. Now helpless, he picks up Luffy like a rag doll and is about to rip his neck. But that's when Nami shows up and says that she has what he wants, the map to the Grand Line. And she tells Luffy and everybody that she's actually been a part of the Fishman Pirates and has been for years. Luffy doesn't believe her, but she tells him that he believes only what she wants him to believe, and that this is his greatest weakness. He believes in everybody. Arlong is about to kill him for good when Nami stops him and tells him to let the sea do its dirty work. Smiling, Arlong drops Luffy into the water, and he struggles to breathe while Nami and the Fishman Pirates leave the area. But at the last minute, Sanji comes to his rescue and barely saves his life, and they think of what to do next. Later at the restaurant, Sanji returns to start cleaning up the place, but that's when Chef Zeph comes in and tells him that he's too good to work here any longer, and Sanji calls him crazy. But Zeph warns him that he has a dream that he should go after and not end up like him, an overweight old pirate who's lost his leg. Because hey, he never fulfilled his dream. And also that Sanji has never shut up about going after his goal, and now it's starting to get really annoying. Pissing Sanji off, he angrily tells Chef Zeph that he'll do as he wishes then, and storms out of the restaurant. A little later, Zoro finally wakes up, and Luffy and him agree to help both of them go after their dreams, and basically become the best seamen bros. Usopp joins in on the fun, and with some team spirit, Luffy suggests that they should first go and figure out what's going on with Nami, before they head to the Grand Line, and everybody agrees. Preparing to set sail, Sanji then joins them last minute as their cook, and they set sail to go save Nami. But then Sanji has a really sweet moment to his father figure, and it's really cute, but it's not important. Moving on. Luffy tells everybody that he knows somebody who knows where Nami is, and takes out Buggy the Clown, revealing that he stole him from the fishmen earlier, and he can lead them to her location. A little while later, with the help of this freaky clown, Usopp spots land in the distance, and they finally reach the Konomi Islands, home to the Arlong pirates. Meanwhile, at Arlong Park, Nami is sent to go meet him, and she gives him the map to the Grand Line, and he thanks her for helping them map out all of the locations of the Marines, pirates, everybody around the seas. And he tells her that with his fishmen, he will soon rule the sea, and he will take her with him. He then sends her off on another job while his team gets ready to go to the Grand Line, telling her to go collect payment from a town nearby that owes them money, the same town that she grew up in, Cocoa Village. Now she asks if someone else can do it, but Arlong tells her that only a human can, and he forces her to go. Nearby, Luffy's crew investigates these strange islands, looking for Nami, and come across this destroyed village. They soon reach a group of villagers, stressing about not having enough money to pay Arlong.
My, what convenient timing.
And that's when Nami enters the village as well, and demands payment. These people people call Nami a traitor to her own people, and this girl here tells her that she has a lot of nerve showing up when everyone hates her for what she did, and that she leaves in anger. And Luffy in the distance sees this. Nami collects this town's payment and tells them to find more money soon or else they'll be in trouble. And that's when she spots Luffy and tells them to leave her alone because this is where she belongs. Luffy thinks she needs their help, but Nami tells her to stop trying to save everybody and storms off. Sanji thinks something else must be going on. Zoro tells him that she clearly wants them to leave, but he tells Zoro that women never say what they mean, his actual words. And that's when ladies man Luffy agrees with Sanji and decides that they should visit that girl that Nami was talking to, because she seemed to know her. Getting directions from one of the locals, they find her house and manage to convince her to spill the beans on Nami in exchange for having Sanji cooking her the best meal of her life. Back at Barati Port, the Marines finally arrive and have a word with Chef Zeph about Luffy's whereabouts, because they know Chef Zeph tells him that he doesn't know anything and offers him a free steak dinner instead, and these two have a grand conversation. And that's when Vice Admiral Garp signals for Kobe and Helmeppo to leave and tells Chef Zeph that he knows everybody saw Luffy leave this town and he needs to find him before it's too late. Meanwhile, back on Konomi Island, Sanji's deliciousness convinces the girl to start talking, and she gives a little backstory about her and Nami, and she reveals that they are sisters and that their mother was killed by Arlong when they were kids, and then Nami went to join Arlong's crew for some strange reason, and since then they've barely spoken to each other. The end. Luffy then gets up to get some fresh air because he can't believe what he's hearing. Zoro joins him, and they both agree that there must be something more to this story because they believe deep down Nami is a goody-goody. A little later at
Well, to be fair, I think I would have called BS on that story too, because, well, let's be real. Why would you join the crew of the one that killed your parent, or your mother? Because, let's be real, if that was me, I'd be planning that revenge to slit Arlong's throat. Which, I'm not sure that's what she's doing, but still would keep an eye on. You know, just not a good idea. Just saying, no matter how you look at it, just accident ones, and, well, you know what's up. Anyway.
Arlong's base. They have a party to celebrate, and that's when Nami reports back with funds from Cocoa Village. And then she tries to talk to Arlong about their deal that she made with him years ago. But then these Marines interrupt the party. Captain Nezumi here tells Arlong that he's here for another check-in because they've been getting reports from the Navy that him and his pirate crew have been making an awful lot of noise on these islands. And Arlong tries to pay him the standard bribe, but Nezumi tells him that the price has now gone up because it's getting harder and harder to cover their pirate asses. Annoyed, he tells the Marines to finish this discussion in his office and signals for Nami to join them. Inside, the Marines tell him that they can't afford to help Arlong if they don't increase their price, and Arlong then agrees to their demands, surprising them, and they give him a backhanded compliment, saying for a fishman, he's pretty smart, and ho boil. This pisses him off, and he intimidates these Marines so much, they give him back the extra money and agree to their old deal before running away. Nearby, Nami is listening in from the outside and then comes in, and she tells Arlong that she finally has what he wants, and he can finally fulfill their deal after all these years. She tells him that she finally has 100 million berry to buy out her village. Shocking him, he tells her to bring the money to him by sunrise, and he will let her and her entire village go forever. Leaving, he then tells one of his minions to go bring back the dirty Marines. Back at Barati Port, Kobe and Helmeppo get drinks while they wait for their Vice Admiral Garp to finish his food. There, Kobe reveals to him a shocking secret. Luffy is their Vice Admiral's grandson, shocking Helmeppo, and he now says it makes sense why their boss was going after such a small-time pirate. The bartender here then overhears them and says that he knows where Luffy and his crew went, and that he can tell them for a small fee. Meanwhile, inside the restaurant, Chef Zeph tells Vice Admiral Garp that Luffy reminds him of Gold Roger, the famous pirate who hid the One Piece treasure 20 years ago. Vice Admiral Garp then confides in Chef Zeph and tells him that he doesn't want his grandkid to end up like Gold Roger and die the worst way possible. And that's when Kobe comes in and tells him that they know where Luffy went, and then the Marines then head off to the Konomi Islands. Nami goes to dig out her treasure, and that's when her friend catches her, and Nami tries to explain herself, but her friend doesn't listen and slams the chest open, discovering a bunch of treasure. Shocked, Nami explains to her that she made a deal with Arlong when they were kids, and that she would work for him, and has been trying to buy their village from him, and she's now saved up 100 million million berry, and with it she can buy everyone's freedom. And that's when her friend, who's actually her sister by the way, she realizes that she's been a dick to Nami for years, and now feels bad. And that's when Captain Nezumi and his men show up. They announce that they are confiscating the 100 million berry treasure that Nami's got. But that's when Nami realizes that she never told them how much was in this chest, and she knows that Arlong set her up. They hold her down and steal everything that she has. And that's when she cries and tries to go after them, telling her sister that now Arlong will try to kill everybody as punishment. Soon running out of breath, she collapses in sadness and anger. And then she starts to try to remove her fishman tattoo. But that's when Luffy reaches her and tells her that he's here to help if she needs it. Breaking down, she finally asks him for help. And he gives her his trusty hat, and he tells her that they'll get to work and save everybody. And that's when his crew shows up as well, and they get ready for combat. And then they hear gunshots and piercing screams in the distance. Going to check it out, they see part of Nami's village burning in the distance, and they rush to go and stop it. Arriving at the village, they realize it's too late and see part of the village in shambles. They then run into her sister, who's Nojiko by the way, and she tells them that she's told the villagers what Nami really did. And everybody agrees to forgive her. I would say so. She had 100 million berry. The villagers now want to fight Arlong and are now done with being cowards. Reluctantly, Nami agrees to let them fight alongside her. And Luffy tells them that while it might not seem like Arlong has any weakness, everybody has a weakness. And he will know it when he sees it, motivating everybody to get ready for the fight of their lives. Meanwhile, on the marine ship, Captain Nezumi reaches Vice Admiral Garp midway. But Vice Admiral Garp asks him why so much pirate activity and what has been happening around Konomi Islands, since it's under their control. But that's when Captain Nezumi tries to shift the blame and says that a new powerful pirate has entered the area and has been slaughtering everybody that he sees, and swears that he wears a straw hat. Koba nearby then talks back and says that Luffy would never hurt anyone innocent, and Vice Admiral Garp agrees and thinks something fishy is going on. He then relieves Captain Nezumi of his duties on Konomi Islands, that he will handle it from here. Back on Konomi Island, Luffy's group blasts through Arlong's headquarters. Smoke bombs go off everywhere, and Nami tells that Arlong is in the map room and takes her and Luffy to it, while the rest of the crew gets ready to stop these bad guys right now. And Usopp runs like a little girl as he gets chased by this drinking fishman. This might look like a badass approach, but in reality this was so stupid. It makes no sense why these guys decided to go in with a bang. The bad guys already destroyed the village and went home to recharge. There was absolutely no need to run into this situation head first, and as mentioned, Arlong is strong, but way too confident and thinks too low of us, and that's why his guard will be down. They could have approached this situation in a few ways. If Luffy wanted to keep Arlong busy, he could have at least coordinated with the townsfolk for them to bring in alcohol during this battle. They could have used it to try and burn down the headquarters entirely. Or they could have done a more stealthy way and could have severely injured the enemies by looking to poison their water supply, either the pool itself or more realistically, by identifying the source of their alcohol cellar. Fishmen need water in order to enhance their powers, so finding a way to leverage their greatest strength and turn it into a weakness should have at least been considered as a possible battle plan in advance. And another more volatile approach could have been for Nami to look for any other communication device that she possessed, and she could have used that to call for Vice Admiral Garp. I know, hear me out. If this village was so important to her, that she should have been willing to destroy Arlong in every way possible. And let's be honest, she never would have left her village again if Arlong was alive. So finding a way to kill him was really the only way she could make a move. The Marines are already looking for them, or at least Luffy. So calling them means they would have been there within the day. Inside the map room, Nami finds the map, but that's when Arlong cuts her off with his lethal weapon, and he tells her that his grand bad guy plan to take back what the humans took from his kind, using the very maps that Nami made for him. And then he's going to go to the Grand Line and blah 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 blah. Don't care. But Arlong compliments on using Nami so well for his own gain. Luffy gets furious and bites on his sword, breaking it, and he signals for Nami to escape. Meanwhile, outside, Usopp hides from this fishman chasing him, and he plays dead, tricking this guy, and uses that exact moment to fire some hot sauce bullets, and uses his special attack, Exploding Star, on this bad guy, blowing his bottle of alcohol up along with him, winning the battle, but with nobody around to see it, so he's kind of sad. Back inside Arlong Park, Sanji and Zoro get tired of fighting. Buggy here then says that if they put his body back on him, he can help them. Desperate, they do what he says, and the minute he gets his body back, he freaking leaves. Idiots. This final fishman enters the area and is shocked that all of his fish brothers have died, and then he gets ready to kick these two's asses. Using fishman karate, he charges at them and surprise jumps on Sanji while Zoro tries to help him. Inside the map room. Luffy continues to try his best, but he can't beat him no matter what he does. He then has an idea and realizes that he is in the most important room in the building. And he tells Arlong that he wouldn't be anything without Nami and starts destroying the support pillar. Arlong realizes that he's trying to destroy all that Nami has helped him build. And he tries to stop
Basically,
it, beating him
can't
up
beat the Fishman,
non-stop,
just
but
take down the
Luffy
building with
summons his
you.
last strike, breaking the entire room as everything starts shaking down. Outside, Sanji gets tired of getting his ass kicked and finally whips out his signature move, sending this fishman back, badly injured, before finishing him off, and then saves the day. And that's when Nami comes out running and the building is shaking. And then Sanji's ready to be the man to hold Nami in his arms and then, well, he gets denied. And she tells them that Luffy and Arlong are still fighting
Sanji we expect.
Meanwhile, Luffy uses his final Gum Gatling move on Arlong and finishes him off with his Gum Battle Axe, slamming Arlong down and sends the entire building crashing above them. Everyone holds their breath, but Luffy survives. Rising up, they link back up and appreciate each other and blah blah blah. Later that night, though, they celebrate at Cocoa Village, and that's when their celebration is cut short by Marines. Vice Admiral Garp shows up and tells them that they're under arrest, and Kobe tries to back him up, but the Vice Admiral doesn't listen. He tells his grandson Luffy that he's tried to make him a Marine, but he realizes that he will always choose to be a stupid child. He demands Luffy to hand over the map, but he says no.
Not gonna happen,
Grandpa's had
bro.
enough, and starts punching Luffy and tells him he's going to treat him like a pirate from now on. Luffy is shocked and tells his granddad that he doesn't want to fight him, but it's too late. He beats up Luffy time and time again and proves he's much stronger than he is, and he tells him that he doesn't know how dangerous the Grand Line is and that he is not ready. But Luffy says that he's not going to give up no matter what happens, and then he starts chuckling, just like the man who hid the One Piece treasure, Gold Roger. Vice Admiral Garp sees that he truly is a pirate and reveals to him that this was all a test. He signals for his men to stop chasing him and to go after Arlong's remaining pirates. And then Captain Nezumi tries to arrest Luffy but gets knocked out. And the Vice Admiral tells Luffy that he knew he wouldn't change his mind, but he wanted to make sure he knew who he really was. And he congratulates Luffy and tells him that he's on his own now. The next day, everybody makes up, including Nami and her sister, Nojiko, blah blah blah, not important. But Kobe pays Luffy a visit and hands him his own wanted poster, making him officially a badass pirate. And Luffy gets happy and the two say goodbye to each other, and he heads back to his crew to show him the good news. And they realize that now more pirates will start to hunt them down on their way to the Grand Line, and they get ready for what's to come. They pick up this barrel and then proclaim all of their dreams together. A good party, me hearties. And they all vow to help each other reach their dreams together, not realizing that old and new horrifying enemies await.
Thank you, Sandbird, for spot.
Yep. We'll be getting over to the Grand Line soon, but first visit the Log Town. Then I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that, but anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, like, subscribe for more. See ya.